back with more Avatar The Last Airbender. This is episode 19 of season 2, the penultimate episode of the season. So I'm very, very excited to get back into the show, see how things are probably going to escalate even further as we head to the end of this season. So yeah, it's actually been a little while because of, sickness and holidays, New Year's, Happy New Year everyone. So I am really, really kind of hyped to dive back in. Of most of the shows I watch, I'm always really, really keen to get back to Avatar to see what's going to happen next. But yeah, I'm glad that the time has finally come to check out these last couple of episodes for book 2. There's a lot going down. Some people are in danger, some people are heading off on different adventures. A lot of the group kind of split apart to do their own things, with varying degrees of success, it might seem. Toph has been captured, and Sokka is on his way to see his dad. Aang is off to find the guru guy, I believe, because they've finally reunited with ATLA and everything as well. And yeah, they seemingly, tried to help out with the whole Ba Sing Se situation, get the Earth King on their side, which they did, but some people are still loyal to Long Feng, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. And of course we had Azula and co racking up to Ba Sing Se as well. Then along with that, Zuko having a bit of a crisis of conscience almost, I think, because he's kind of making these personal changes, but that's also making him sick, so he's kind of powering through that. There's a lot to kind of cover with these last 2 episodes, but I'm sure some stuff will also linger on into the next season, which is the last season, which is crazy to think, because it's been like a full year of doing this show now. I didn't actually look up when I first started reacting to Avatar, but we probably got back into it again at the start of this year. I might even look it up. Why not? But yeah, since we are in the new year and stuff, I just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone who's supporting these reactions thus far. It's been an absolute blast. This is probably my favourite show to cover on the channel last year, so I'm excited to continue on with it this year, finish it up, and we'll almost certainly be starting Legend of Korra this year as well, which is very, very exciting. So let's see. Oh wow, as I'm recording this, it's the 3rd of January. Patrons will probably get it on the 3rd, maybe not on YouTube. But 3rd of January is when I started regularly covering the show on the channel. So actually a year to the day that it became a regular fixture on the channel. We're continuing on with it in the new year. So happy 1 year anniversary of me recording Avatar reactions properly. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into this episode, to see who is going to be featuring and exactly what's going to go down. Probably going to be crazy, and I'm excited. So let's get into it.
It's a new day. We've got a new apartment, new furniture, and today's the grand opening of your new tea shop. Things are looking up, Uncle.
Oh wow. Oh, I hope that sticks.
Don't be nervous. He's gonna be so happy to see you.
So what about you? Are you nervous to meet this guru?
Not at all.
Brave soldier boy comes marching home. Aww.
The Kyoshi warriors are here to protect us. Aren't you excited? It's been a difficult week.
Can hardly bear the excitement.
It's terrible when you can't trust the people who are closest to you.
For God's sake.
And an invasion of the Fire Nation this summer on the day of a solar eclipse.
Really?
Oh
Now that sounds
no.
like a fascinating and brilliant plan.
Well, fuck.
Ugh, it tastes like onion and banana juice.
That's because it is.
Oh God.
Yum, yum. You might think you're the greatest earthbender in the world, but even you can't bend metal.
Can you try?
We can take it by ourselves. Gosh, you're so confident. I really admire that about you. From the inside, we're in perfect position.
I fear it, so there's that.
Life is messy, and things
Dude.
The creek can't flow?
And once you begin this process, you cannot stop until all 7 are open. Are you ready?
Oh boy.
I'll do whatever it takes.
What are you most afraid of? Let your fears become clear.
Aww. He's afraid of Katara getting hurt.
This chakra deals with pleasure and is blocked by guilt. Look at all the guilt which burdens you so.
Oh god.
What do you blame?
How long do you have?
If you are to be a positive influence on the world, you need to forgive yourself.
Again, he's going through similar emotional beats and journeys to Zuko. I love when they parallel them.
The seaweed tangles up the propeller, and the foul smell forces people to abandon the ship. I call it.
So he gets this kind of skill from his dad then.
Good one, Dad. You're definitely your father's. The rest of you men, prepare for battle.
What should I do, Dad?
Aren't you listening? I said the rest of you men get ready for battle.
Aw. He believes in you.
What are you ashamed of?
Again, how long do we have? I'm glad I'm not doing this. Oh, this is such a good way of
Deny this part of your life.
showcasing like
You are
how
the
far
Avatar,
he's come,
and therefore,
some key moments in his journey.
I don't know how anyone can fight in this.
Maybe that's why it was so easy to beat the Kyoshi warriors and take their clothes.
How much longer do we have to serve the Earth King?
Good work, girls. I'm sure the Dai will deliver the message.
Oh, okay.
the 4th chakra is located in the
She's
heart.
annoyingly clever.
Lay all your grief out in front of you.
Grieving was the first time he got in that state, really, wasn't it? Well, first time since he was out the ice.
Love is a form of energy, and it swirls all around us.
What is grief if not love persevering?
It is still inside of your heart, and is reborn in the form of new love.
Aww.
Pain flows
Oh, he's crying.
Can I have some onion banana juice, please?
Oh, he still sounds like just a kid in that moment. Oh.
the sound. You must accept that you are the Avatar. Things you think are separate and different are actually one and the same.
Like the Four Nations.
Yes, we are all one people, but we live as if divided.
Everything is connected.
That's right. Even
And
the
that is kind of
separation the 4 elements
what his purpose is as well, like, yeah, connecting all the 4 elements, because he can master them all.
Even metal is just a part of Earth that has been purified and refined.
That's cool.
Woo! Toph, you rule.
That's so cool. Just casually invent a new
Cup of tea before we
bending
get back
thing.
to the table for 2, please.
Uncle, I need 2 jasmine,
Uh-oh.
1 green, and 1 lychee. I'm brewing as fast as I can.
Fair reaction, yeah.
Meditate on what attaches you to this world.
It's very sweet that it all comes back to her.
Let them flow down the river, forgotten.
What? Why would I let go of Katara?
Oh.
I love her. How could it be a bad thing that I feel an attachment to her? 3 chakras ago, that was a good thing.
You must learn to let go.
Oh boy.
I just saw Prince Zuko and his uncle. We have to
Uh-oh.
tell the King
Oh,
right away.
God.
Oh, don't worry.
It's working out annoyingly well for these people. How dare you?
I think it's time for a family reunion.
Go on, Momo, save the day.
Sorry, but I can't let go of Katara.
Yeah. It's a very cool visual for it.
Katara's in danger.
If you leave now, you won't be able
Damn. Yes.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world. Don't you two dunderheads ever forget.
I mean, I believe that.
You don't have to prove anything to me. I'm already proud of you. And I've always known you're a great warrior.
Really?
Why do you think I trusted you to look after our tribe when I left?
It's true.
This can't be good news.
No. He understands, though. It's his daughter as well, isn't it?
Why should I help you?
Because I can get you the Avatar.
I'm listening.
And she like orchestrated all of that.
We've been invited to serve tea to the Earth King.
Oh god. Oh, his good work's gonna be undone when he sees Azula. Sneaky bitch. That's an issue. And many more issues. Okay, another really, really great episode. The amount they can pack into such short episodes is kind of astounding, and the fact that they do it all so well. They covered a lot. I think they could have easily left a few things and not kind of explored them a bit until, the final episode or something, and, wrap a few things up in this one, and then, wrap up the rest, set up the next season in the final one. But I think they carried on basically all of them. But I think they still gave each plotline like enough to kind of feel like, oh yeah, that was worth that progression and stuff. It doesn't feel like, oh my god, how are they going to handle all of this? In the last episode, when they handled all of this stuff really well in this one as well. And things did advance and things kind of connected in different unique ways, which I thought was really interesting. One of my favourite things was when Patik was explaining, everything's connected, stuff like that. Much like the idea of the swamp episode, I think they were talking about how everything is kind of connected. Everything is kind of actually one. And we kind of continued that thread in this one and what he was talking about, and all the world is connected, who Aang is connected to, what grounds him to the world. The full nations, they're one people but act like they're divided. I like that kind of idea because it feels very true to life. And how they then tied that idea in to Toph actually learning to bend metal, which I think is so cool. And yeah, he was just, his voiceover talking about the connectedness and seeing all these different things within the world. As she was kind of examining it and she could feel the different textures of it, she was becoming in tune with it, because it was just, another part of the earth in a way is, what we produce on it, such as metal, and she kind of learns to bend it and escape from it, which is so awesome. So I like that, we have these established things, these are the elements you can bend, blah, 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 blah. But there are new, I guess, subdivisions into that in what Toph is now capable of doing. So I guess, is it still technically earthbending, or would you consider metal bending something else entirely? Is that a separate thing? I think you could technically kind of put them together, but maybe that is a conversation that they'll have in the future. But I liked how what Patik was telling Aang and the lessons he was learning linked into then what we were seeing Toph actually put into practice to escape those two idiots. So that was great. Loved everything with that. And alongside that, they continued, I think, to put Aang and Zuko's, certainly their emotional journeys rather than individual story details. They put them in parallel quite a bit, which I really enjoyed. We kind of had Aang have to sit down, reevaluate himself, look at all the decisions that he's made, make some changes to them, to get to, the state that he needs to be in, quite literally the Avatar state that he needs to be in. And Zuko has been doing that as well with what he's been going through. He's kind of fought through, the illness and stuff. Now he seems kind of renewed, refreshed, and a new person, with a new, fresh take on life and the world, and kind of renowned sense of purpose. He's seemingly changed quite a bit, and he has reevaluated and changed himself at the same time. Just, you know, very different methods of doing it, very different reasons for doing it. But there is still kind of a similar journey for both of them, which the show has done basically since the beginning. So I like that that continues to be what they go for. And, you know, a big kind of grounding part of Aang's journey in this one was his reluctance to fully go all the way with what Patik wanted him to do because of his connection to Katara, even though they didn't have any interactions in this episode at all. And Zuko, again, didn't quite have an interaction with Katara, but she did see him, so there was that connection between those two, but also a separation because Zuko didn't see her, she was there, but Katara saw him, and that was very much the case with Aang as well. You know, and I think Patik even talks about the idea of separation, and, you know, you need to remove yourself from certain things, accept certain things the way they are. So he needs to, like, sever that connection, separate himself from Katara in that sense. And that physically happened with Zuko and Katara. So I like that they, again, because you just parallel them in different interesting ways. You know, I could be just reading too much into that with that particular one. That's probably not what they were going for by a stretch of the imagination. But there are little things like that, I think. It's very cleverly all woven together. So I enjoyed that very much, and I liked, you know, Aang going through all the different chakras, learning about them. I have kind of heard about the chakras and stuff. I actually, we had to do stuff with chakras and stuff when I was at uni for some meditation things we were working through. So I have heard of all those, and, you know, one of my people in my course, they did professionally, they did like chakra massages and stuff. They had the chakra like stones they put on you and guide you through meditations with that. So I was very familiar with that concept. So I did like that as like a basis. And for things like, you know, for kids and stuff who would be watching this, I think it's quite informative, and it doesn't sound condescending when they're explaining to you what this all is. Because Aang himself is still, you know, technically just a child also learning this, so you're just kind of relating to that. It doesn't feel like you're being spoken down to, but it's still very educational and stuff. It's just such a well-written show. So good. So yeah, I liked all the different journeys that Aang was going through and trying to deal with, you know, his grief, accepting that he didn't want to be the Avatar, but he is, so he kind of has to make peace with that. You know, what connects him to the earth through Katara, what he regrets. I just loved all those little snapshots of things we've seen before, things that have made Aang the way he is, things he said he'd never do again, but maybe will have to, things he can make peace with now, much as Zuko's trying to make peace with his new decisions and his new life. Because Iroh, you know, as a character, he's very much so comfortable with himself and how his life's turned out. He's very good at accepting things the way they are and just making the most of them. And, you know, Zuko's kind of learning to do that as well. This is what Aang's whole journey in this episode was about. And so I like that we have an example of this is where they could be. And because Iroh is such a great character, you really do root for Aang and Zuko to get to that place. Because, you know, if they're even half, you know, the man that Iroh is, then they're going to be bloody great and have awesome lives. So just all this different interconnectedness between all the characters, I think, is really, really impressive how they managed to pull that off. And yeah, Aang just going... I knew it wasn't going to be full, smooth sailing, even though, you know, he was quite easily going through all those different chakras and stuff. But I was like, well, at some point there's going to be one that he's not going to want to do. And then he was told to let Katara go. And, you know, that's long been set up, you know, his things for Katara. And yeah, it's just the admission that he loves her, and I did like that he pointed out, like, it was a good thing that I have that connection with her like 3 chakras ago. I like that he kind of pointed out, like, there's a bit of, you know, hypocrisy going on here. So I thought that was really fun as well, kind of poking holes in it, and maybe that's why he, you know, might be a bit more comfortable with his decision to abandon that and maybe never get in the Avatar state again, because Katara's in trouble. He needs to save her, and, you know, that connection that he has with her informed him that she was in trouble and needed saving. So I think he's obviously going to see that as a good thing, because imagine he goes through all of that, you know, just to lose her anyway. It would have... I can't imagine what it would have been like for him to deal with, like, well, I've had to let her go now, and then something really awful happened to her. I think there'll be some guilt there, really, and maybe that could undo all that good work. So I really liked his choice there, and I'm sure he'll find a way to get into the Avatar state again. I'm sure this isn't the be all and end all, because he has gone through stuff non-chakra before to get to the Avatar state. Obviously, it's been very traumatic occasions when he has gotten in the Avatar state before, but I'm sure there's lots of different methods that he could get to that place again and learn to properly control it and be fully aware of his actions while he's in that state. So hopefully there will be a way that he can do that, even if this isn't maybe the route that they should take. But I did like that we revisited Patik and he was trying to guide Aang through all of this, and yeah, it just really cycled nicely back to not just Aang's character arc, Zuko's character arc, Iroh's character arc in a way, like we were talking about, but even Appa, because he was the first one to meet Patik a few episodes back, but it also ties into like the ground, like the larger world as almost a character in itself, with the idea of everything being connected, and it's people assuming that they're divided and acting like they're divided when we're all just they're all just the human race and whatever. So I like those wider issues, and even like the things you might think have like huge wide implications in terms of like the grander themes the show explores, and it's just everything is connected, much like their idea in the show is. And I think a lot of the time so many things are linked between characters that maybe don't even interact, kind of could tie into something somewhere. It's just very the world building in this show is just incredibly layered and complex, and I never failed to be impressed with it, as you may have probably gathered, because I've been going on about it for God knows how long at this point. But yeah, loved everything with that and Aang's journey, so I'm hopefully looking forward to seeing him go and make sure Katara was alright, and Sokka joining him as well. I'm sure his father completely understood, because he'd also be concerned for his daughter. And the fact that he'd just been told, Sokka, you don't need to prove anything to me. I already know that you're a good warrior. That's why I left you in charge of the village. I trusted you to do that. So I think that insecurity for Sokka that he's probably had since his father left, that kind of patched up. So he felt more than comfortable. Like, if I don't have to prove anything, I can go and save Katara as well. I can go and help Aang out. So that was really cool that Aang made that choice to step away from, something that he's wanted for so long, to get in control of the Avatar state to save Katara. Sokka wanted to reunite with his dad, prove himself as a warrior for so long. He's willing to give that up to save Katara as well. So again, paralleling different journeys, and while they're vastly different people, they can make similar decisions, and that's why they get on so well. And they are two people very much bound to the earth by Katara, by their love for Katara. Obviously, very different kinds of love, but yeah, I really like that. Considering Sokka didn't particularly like Aang, I think, at the start of the show, I just love that development for them and how well they got on now. Like, even the little moment where Aang was like, oh, your dad's gonna be so happy to see you, he's so excited to see you, and Sokka was really pleased to hear that. It's just, I love them, so wholesome. And yeah, speaking of Sokka, I did like his little arc in this one, being dropped off, reuniting with his father, and yeah, just kind of making peace with that insecurity that he's often had. I love that we saw Sokka's dad is quite good at inventing things himself. He kind of comes up with all these wacky ideas, and we've seen Sokka use that many, many times. So obviously he gets that from his dad, and I said that. And then the other guy, I think Bato? I think Bato, he's been in it before, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure there was an episode about Bato of the Water Tribe or something. I think he kind of said, like, oh, you really are your father's son. So, they very much, that was the point they were trying to get across. And I like that. Again, interconnectedness between family and everything's connected. Really good stuff with that. So I'm glad Sokka could find some peace with that, hopefully. Iroh's awesome looking tea shop. I want them to recreate that somewhere. There should be like an Avatar like theme park or something. They recreate that tea shop. We can all go. So we'll have a meet up and go to that tea shop. And again, he's just finding some peace, and for now anyway, because now they're being lured into a trap by Azula, of course. And yeah, Zuko just being in seemingly a good place. I was kind of worried, is he just faking this to, save face for Iroh, make Iroh happy? But I think he's generally just in a good spot. But now the threat of that being potentially ruined is now coming back into contact with Azula, potentially coming back into contact with Aang and Katara and all of that. Seemingly let that go before, but you know, when faced with the opportunity again, is he going to choose something different? I think that's going to be the question that the next episode will certainly answer, and that will be the true test of whether Zuko has kind of moved past that big motivation that he's had for so long. Can he let that go? So that should be interesting, because it would be, you know, an interesting parallel, I guess, for him to have, you know, what I would see, I guess, and what the audience would normally probably see as like a satisfying character arc would be for him to let his connection to Aang and Katara and everyone go. But it's also a satisfying character arc for us as an audience, for Aang and Sokka to not let their attachments go, and that's like their strength. But obviously, you know, people have different connections to different things, and you know, Zuko and Iroh's relationship's absolutely precious as well. And I like that Iroh's so proud of Zuko for sharing the opening day of his tea shop with him and everything. But Azula, bloody clever, that one. I really like the character, even though she's awful and horrible. She's so clever and like a few steps ahead. I'd love to see put Azula and Toph in a room together. Just have a 20-minute episode of that. That would be incredible. I think those two would really, really... that would be the ultimate kind of power showdown, I think. The meeting of minds. Seeing those two really have huge interactions. I hope we kind of get that at some point. Because I think that would be a very interesting confrontation with those two, I would say. But yeah, I like seeing her plan ahead. You know, get in on the inside, pretend to be the Kyoshi warriors. Then, you know, make it so that they're overheard, kind of outing themselves as Fire Nation, so then they can talk to Long Feng and make a deal with him. And they've probably, you know, through that deal, she's gotten the Earth King to invite Iroh and Zuko along. Things are just falling into place for her, really. You know, she didn't even know that Zuko was in Ba Sing Se, and now she's like, well, this is an extra good dish of revenge for me that I can kind of consume. So now I guess all that's being set up, and another big confrontation for those. And I am kind of excited to see where that's going to lead, because, you know, we've I feel like it's been a while now since Zuko and Azula have actually had a proper confrontation. I feel like it's been a while. There might have been... Did Iroh get hurt, I think, at the end? Maybe their last fight? They haven't seen each other since then. It's been a while, either way. So I am looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with all of that. And, you know, where Azula and her friends are going to end up at the end of this season. I mean, I can't imagine they're just going to kill them off or anything. You know, I think that'd be quite a thing to do. You know, I know they killed Zhao at the end of season 1, but I feel like Azula will probably carry on into next season. I'm just intrigued to see what place they're going to leave it out with her in the end of this season, because you probably want to feel like something significant has happened, and a shift has happened with her. But, you know, are we going to get her out of the way, and then Azai is like the big, you know, bad presence in season 3? Is it going to be him and Azula? You know, what's kind of going to happen with that? I'm really intrigued. But I do like how on the ball Azula can be, and, you know, she even played to the Dai Li, and she played Long Feng, and, like, made him think like it was all his doing and he had all the power in the situation, even though this was all part of her plan. I just like that vindictiveness and that intelligence that she has. I think it's admirable. They were saying, one of them was like, I think, you're so confident or something. I found that really admirable. Where it's also terrifying, and you do admire it in a sense, but I just kind of wish, you know, she was on the good side, because then you'd feel a lot more confident about all the plans and stuff if you had Azula on your team. You know, you definitely feel like, yeah, we got this. So I loved all of her like little manipulations behind the scenes, and her just making it look easy to trick someone who had the power over Ba Sing Se for so long, and she's kind of, you know, pretended that he's getting his power back, even though it was part of her plan and her doing all along. And she just made that look so easy. I really like that. And just, she's a very good villain, and I'm excited for what, you know, they're going to do with her. Certainly in the next episode, maybe beyond that. We'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds. And then we had Katara still negotiating with the Earth King and the council and all of that to try and get things done. Then she oversaw Zuko. Then she oversaw Azula, so she got dealt with all the big revelations of who stood in Ba Sing Se, and she kind of had to deal with the brunt of that. And now she's in a bit of trouble herself. But Momo got away, so I'm hoping Momo's gonna, come through and do something. I don't know exactly what, but they've done it before. Hopefully Momo can do it again. So I'm intrigued at that, but I'm glad that Momo managed to escape. Katara wouldn't have wanted Momo to be captured as well. So that leaves her in an interesting position to see what they're going to do to her before anyone kind of comes and is in a position to save her. Hopefully we get some scenes of that, because Katara can also handle herself in the best of situations. So I will be intrigued to see what role she does play in things. I hope she's not just like the damsel in distress that we need to save at the end of the episode, because been there, done that with a lot of things. But I'll have to wait and see how it unfolds with her as well. But I really liked the stuff we got with her in this episode, and she had such a big role to play in things, even when it wasn't, we weren't following her journey, because she's a huge part of obviously Aang's life right now, and she's his kind of grounding thing, keeping him to the earth and everything. So I like that she had some big focus, even when it wasn't just her as a character actually appearing in the scenes. And then Toph, kind of already talked about her learning to bend metal and how that connected to what Patik was saying. I like that she kind of inhabited that, even though she didn't obviously hear that lesson for herself. But we've seen how in tune she can be with the earth and everything. Some of it I think is because she's blind, but some of it is just because she's a very bloody good earthbender anyway. So I think it made a lot of sense that she could try and work out how to get out of this metal cage and everything, and just made those two look like absolute fools and just locked them in there. Will they be found? I don't know. Do I care? No. So that was cool how she just got herself out of that situation by just casually being like, I can bend metal now, cool. But we've seen just how powerful she is and how good she is at earthbending stuff throughout this season. I think it's just a natural progression for her to get to that spot where she can just easily do that. So that was really great. And now she's off and away, hopefully heading back to Ba Sing Se, bring some destruction as well. While the bad guys, the bad side of things, they do have Azula, which isn't great because she's very kind of clever and stuff as well. It is nice to know that they have, our gang have Toph, because she can get shit done, and she certainly did in this one. So I liked that little conclusion to her arc with those two. Hopefully they're just done and dusted and embarrassed now, and they can just head off home. But maybe we'll pick up that story as well, because I feel like there's some stuff there with Toph and her parents that probably still need to get resolved later on down the line. I don't know if there's room for it in this season, but maybe next season they could get there. So we'll see. But I liked everything with Toph as well, and her learning to bend metal is freaking awesome and opens up even more possibilities. Like, could we learn to bend even newer things next season and beyond, or whatever? It would be cool that maybe this is the start of something really interesting, and maybe she could also pass that on to other people. So that was great. Loved everything with that, and how it tied into the greater ideas of everything being connected and stuff like we've seen before, and like Patik was talking about. So good, so layered, and this show, man. But another fantastic episode. I can't wait to see where this all goes in the finale of Book 2. Should be quite something indeed, and I'm so excited to check it out when we get to it. But I'm also just hyped to be back with Avatar, and such a good show, and I can't believe we're nearly 2/3 of the way through it. I can't believe we're about to get into the final season. But all good things must come to an end, and clearly the show isn't going to outstay its welcome. They kind of knew what they wanted to tell over 3 seasons, and that's going to be it. But I've loved season 2 so much, so I can't wait to see how they wrap it up and set up the final season as well. Should be good. I can't wait. This was another fantastic episode, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.